understand. I'm in the field and you just sit in the stands. Take that bass out your voice. If you ain't got no gun in your hand, I do what I want, and you don't even do what you can. You do what you told. I got no love for my foes. They can mimic my delivery and copy my prose, but what they can't comprehend is how I stick to this code. It's either in you or not. It's not the kicks and the clothes. They ain't cut from the same cloth, can't come from the same loom, fit in similar shapes or even sit in the same room. Confusing authenticity with part of the costume. I'm teaching gifted children, you can't come in this classroom.
Dare to struggle, dare to win.
Dare to struggle, dare to win. Episode 26. Geechee, y'all. Dr. Yusef, Bunchy, Shakur, and Cherie Danielle. How y'all doing? What's up, y'all?
Hey, what's good, everybody? Happy Black August.
What up, though? Like Geechee look like he's jigging with his hair all flying, just all over the place.
He had to show up and show out at this conference.
I see.
Yeah, he's like, I'm presenting, so I gotta, make sure I'm killing him with the looks,
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all a little secret, bro. I did my own hair.
Oh, straight up.
I'm telling you, I ain't really did it.
You did a braid out, yeah.
Yeah, I was able to do the little plait joint and try to tie the rubber band. It looked bad. I ain't gonna do it again, but I tried.
All right, I see you, self-care.
Yeah. Hey, man, listen. Welcome to Dare to Struggle, Dare to Win, which is a podcast according to CMB's politics, the Black Radical Left shit, and we're here on Black Liberation Media, which is a network that all y'all love and all of y'all are politicized. That's why y'all here. So all we need you to do is get your finger and point to your whatever clicker you got and copy the link, paste it to somebody you know, and invite them to the conversation, because today's going to be an interesting conversation. I can't wait to see the different generations and levels interact with this concept of online left and grassroots organizing. So I think that's going to be interesting. So make sure you share. Tell somebody to come through.
I'm just looking at this comment. Sorry, what's her name? Leah was like, it's happy. I thought about that too, because somebody, Tandi, I think she put in the chat on CMV's chat, like, you're not supposed to say happy Black August. So it's really Black August resistance, but I'm so used to saying like happy. So because I guess it's not, we're supposed to be about the work. It's not supposed to be about being happy necessarily. But, yeah.
Nah, you got to be mad. No,
I'm reading Blood in My Eye right now, and it definitely has me like, feeling a lot of ways. I'm like, wow, this book.
Is your first time reading it?
Yeah, it's my first time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like George Jackson was reading people for filth. Mm-hmm. Like, it's crazy. I'm like, he really called out so much of the liberalism, like even back then. And it's just, but it's that book is really definitely like been an experience so far.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever read Saladin Brothers?
Mm-mm. This is my first one of his that I'm reading. I heard some stuff about Saladin Brother, but yeah, I just wanted to read Blood in My Eye first.
So I like Saladin Brothers.
Yeah, them letters was important, I think.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Blood is cold, but it's people just jump to that because of the military politics and things, and where Saladin, it has that in there, but you get the human spirit of George. You see George in his raw. I mean, all the complexities of him inside of prison.
Yeah, I was being real nosy, looking up them Angela Davis love letters and stuff. I'm like, let me find out what George was on. Like, but yeah.
She put some in her book. And then they I forget what that's called. So when they was locked up, they spent some time together. They had a little quality time.
Yeah. He said he would lick between her gap. I was like, all right, George, lay it out.
All the women love George. What's her name? That was part of the Panthers. She wrote the book. Damn. Oh, she was the only woman that was the chairman of the party.
Lane Brown.
Yeah, Lane Brown. So she talks in her book with George invited her, and she had a little so she put a little cleavage out for George. And
Like, all right,
Dynamic.
George. Mm.
George,
But yeah, Geechee, yeah, I know you've been on the at a conference. How's everything going with that? Oh, we put you on mute. Yeah.
My bad, I muted myself. Yeah, it's been going good. So it's the Institute for Social Ecology, which is a lot of folks who are, if anybody ever know Murray Bookchin, they kind of birthed out of Murray Bookchin's municipalism, and even as you can read into about communes and obviously liberated zone theory. So it's a conference where a bunch of people from different places are coming to talk about some of the work they're doing in their local spaces. And so just came to talk about some of the CMB Atlanta work and trying to apply liberated zone theory. And so, yeah, I think so far it's been interesting to see the folks in this space and how folks are grappling with the current social arrangement and their belief in their ability or inability to change the current social arrangement. And all of us seem to have a particular analysis of why it is the way it is. And then maybe we even have the analysis to say what it should be. But as Jared always says, this existential threat or existential threat or crisis, existential crisis of methodology is where we're at. So the how to develop something to get to the thing that we all claim to be. We're kind of grappling with that. It's not that many, if all black left people here, but it is an interesting time being back in Lexington, and then also building with some comrades who we have mutual comrades in Louisville that's here, and then obviously Dayton, Ohio, some comrades there too. So it's been interesting so far.
So what you mean by evolved black left? Like,
I don't know if I said evolve. I meant to say that we don't have people who would consider black organizations on the left. They're not represented here. Okay. Cooperative Jackson was gonna come. Kali couldn't come this moment, but yeah, there's no other radical black orgs here. It's more so left anarchists, anarcho, and bookchinist white organizations here. So that's what I meant by that.
I'm curious, what would you define liberated zone as?
Yeah, I would define it as being in close, because I think it'll be hard to be in total control, but being in as much as possible control of your life-sustaining resources, and that start in a particular community or a small locale, and in order for it to actually progress, and this is something that Kali was talking about, it has to be federated and connected to other spaces. So in a nutshell, I would say like being able to test out your politics and your theories into a place base and translate that, all the books you've read, all the experience you had into actually building power in at least one place first. So that's kind of how I would describe it.
Okay. So I've been working on here in Detroit, building up what's called the Liberated Zone Collective. So taking people with who have community institutions who've kind of fit your description, and then in which we all struggle with capacity, funding, things of that nature, but share some similar politics, but using our institution to recenter grassroots politics and the ability to build within those areas and those communities, but then take that and create a build cross different communities, different neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
But also again amplifying the community hubs as the basis for, they're all located in poverty-stricken areas or socially neglected areas, and so being able to your point, being as autonomous as much as you possibly can up under those circumstances, and then to activate people through engaging and through the community institutions.
Yeah. I I wish I had this slide that because I asked Kali to give me a quote, and maybe I can pull it up. But there was this right here. Let me see if you can see this. So I'm gonna share this right quick. And I know our guest should be pulling up soon, but we'll get to him soon. So this is a quote that Kali shared with me that I wanted to kind of frame some of the conversation today when I present it. But he says our communes and or liberated zones are bases of experimentation, nothing more and nothing less. We don't build them to escape. We build them to live out elements of our dreams, to perfect our practice, to serve as living examples of what socialism could look like, feel like, operate like. But we need to be clear that on their own, acting in isolation, they are mere irritants to the forces of exploitation and oppression. But when federated and when built with the intention to grow on a horizontal and voluntary basis, they can be seeds for the flowering of the world we deserve. So I think that kind of like even goes into what Yusuf was saying. Like the intention is not to be isolated, but build in the next community. And again, I think here, just having that conversation around how orgs see that, and then how do orgs grapple with the methods of like building in a place-based locale before they go out instead of being like spread out around the city and state and all of the other things. But I don't know if you had any thoughts or questions, Cherie.
Yeah, I think that's important because I think especially me that's a new organizer and then also meeting other new organizers, I do think sometimes that can get a little confusing when talking about it. Like, okay, are we just trying to build our own opposite world, or like are we, and I think that he kind of lays it out. It's like we're building things based in our politics, but it's to show like an example of like what the world could be. Like the intention isn't just to like build that and then it just be for us that are like radicalized. We just have our own little thing. But it's like, the intention is to expand, to then, point out a contradiction. I think that that's like a contradiction of the current state of the world. But I think that that's important to, continue to kind of lay out. And I feel like he laid it out really well, because sometimes it can be confusing, even if you understand what it is as a new organizer. Sometimes I struggle trying to explain it to others. They, because it goes back to like, oh, well, y'all are just trying to like, build your own empire. Y'all trying to build your own, or people will like equate it to like, like having, Black businesses support each other or whatever. Like, they'll try to equate it. And it's like, no, this is actually like a different thing that we're doing, because, the intention is different. And obviously it's not, a business come up or whatever. But it's hard to break that down to people sometimes, the two differences.
Yeah. Yusuf, I know we talked about this before, but like I think the more and more, specifically in the United States context, and more I'm having conversations around people who are organizers who might identify as radical or revolutionary, whatever they are. The conversation around how to get to where you want to go, right? Whether it's an anarchist society, communist society, stateless, social, whatever it is, what exactly does your politics, your ideology, your organization, your relationship, how does it interact with the state? How does it grapple with the state? How does it fight the state? How does it consider the state? And I feel like even, still like these conversations is almost like mythical instead of grounded in reality. And yeah, so I just wonder like if you have thoughts, or both of y'all have thoughts around like, because the conversation is ongoing and it just seems like everybody read a book and be like, oh, the book said I'm communist and I'm communist. It should just be communist. That's it. Like no pathway, no nothing before, no whatever. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, I don't think none of us came up with this. It existed long before we was born, which is at some point, and I think you're gonna Cherie in blood or Sada, I can't remember. You got to put the damn book down and practice what you're reading. And I think where and I've said this before, and I'm looking at my own experience, like we read so much, and because of the knowledge that we have from the ideology and whether however we identify ourselves, it produces like an arrogance to us. And sometimes it's not meant well, and other times it is meant well. But this is the means of working with the people helps, or it should help mitigate that arrogance, because you're learning. And definitely George says it in Blood My Eye that it's not the revolutionaries that lead us to victory. It's the people. So I think the universal commonality wherever we at between us and the people, or we say between the organizations, movements, and the state, is the people. We're both trying to galvanize the people, and depending on who win in that situation, because like on our side, we're saying we're trying to win the hearts and minds of the people. The state has already won the minds and hearts of the people. So how do we shift that? And that's where again the things that we're reading, we study, because if we're not transforming ourselves, and then we're not helping the people to transform ourselves, it's just a bunch of hot air.
Yeah, another thing that as I'm reading this book, like another thing that he points out is the importance of the people, but he also talks about the revolutionary vanguard. And I feel like in that context, I'm always thinking about like, that party of people that is like, because there's this whole idea sometimes that you hear where sometimes people are like, well, let's just wait because eventually things will get so bad and the people will do this. But then he also talks about how there has to be a strong revolutionary vanguard to kind of like, lead or guide people kind of in that direction. And that if the revolution fails, it's because there was not like a strong united like vanguard like to kind of lead that. And so I'm always thinking about that as well too, as far as like the contributions that we're making now to like the contributions that we're making now to lay the foundation, which I think Kali and others are talking about. Let me check in with
I think so one of the things I think even Yusef, I was reading Leah's comment and she was talking about the combones. I know not Kobe Cambone. It's the other Cambones, the one that went to Ghana. And matter of fact, I think he was in. Well, anyway, so I've heard about some of some people who actually went over there, and again, there's this like highly propagated idea that self-determination is deeply rooted in black business and black economic strength, and self-determination is hand in hand. So it's like really hard for anybody to have serious conversation around what we can and can't do with trying to make money, right? And so I think with the some folks over there, I know some folks that went over there, don't want to call names. I think they had a conversation online before that I don't know, they was working at a particular place in the US. They moved their family over there to help Cambone them, and then there's some stuff happened and they had to go back. And Cambone was talking negatively against this brother and his family, but this brother who works in the US, most of them was donating their money to the Cambones, funding a lot of their work. So It was kind of weird that, but anyway, I think the grappling with methods and even when we are trying to apply it on the ground, like when we are engaged in things that scientifically don't work, and it's hard to like I guess have generative conflict with people in different spaces. So yeah.
I think it's the conversation around black economics. It's long overdue to have a very open, transparent, and deep conversation, because it has multiple meanings, and where some people see that as black liberation, some people see that as black self-determination, some people see that as black capitalism. I don't think there's and some other things, right? And I think there's truth in each and every one of those, right? As a oppressed group of people who, money matters. Money matters in this world, because also at the end of the day, when we leave and we want to go eat something, we don't have money, we can't eat, right? And that's at the basic level. But that does not determine, if we can get free or not. You know, you can have all the money in the world, you still a nigga. You know, have all the money in America, they still can lock your black ass up or shoot you. So that does not in the grand scheme of things, that does not change your material condition. It may make it better for time being. I think this is where the collective group is not strong enough to determine where we're going and how do we utilize. Like, money for me is a tool, and I think we're not having that serious of a conversation. And money has always been a tool. It's never been, should have been what it is. Only in a capitalist society where it's God, it's treated as God.
Yeah, that's a fact. Look, we're gonna take a break. I guess is queued up and ready to go. We'll be right back in a moment. So dust your shoulders off, get you a drink, because when we come back, this brother gonna make you think. Shit, I had bars since I was in Kentucky.
I can't tell you.
Hair baby, nigga.
Throwing copper at the coppers, but I'm shaking like Morocco. Say my prayers with the pistol, serve the sinners with the chopper. All my buddies got it from scratch. My house had Betty Crocker. His mama owned D. He ain't even get no shot up. Profit is invisible. Profit come from product. He thinking buffet. He can't comprehend no potluck. God bless the child with his own powder to rock.
Hey. We back. We got a special guest coming to you guys. You guys may know him from TikTok. He's really popular influencer on there, dishing out the radical black politics and, you know, cooking people, notoriously known for being like, hi, I'm CJ and I'm finna cook you. And yeah, so he's known for cooking rad libs, liberals, radicals that are actually liberal.
The whole nine. Can y'all hear me?
And breaking it all down. But this is CJ, and I guess I'm gonna just jump in and kind of ask a little bit of your background. Because I know you mentioned that you actually do work outside of, you know, being online. So I'm just a little bit more curious. You know, I've never seen you in like a interview state where you can actually kind of elaborate a little bit more about your work offline. Kind of how you came to being, if I'm not mistaken, a Black Marxist at 19. So I'm curious to kind of hear a little bit more about you, you know, and what got you to this point.
So like my story starts, like I usually start my story off. I could not have been more than like 5 years old. And so I'm from St. Louis. So if you know anything about our museum scene, Forest Park, all of that stuff is free. You know what I'm saying? So it was a history museum exhibit about the transatlantic slave trade. So like I said, my age, I'm no more than 5 years old. And so when I go in here, I'm not knowing about the transatlantic slave trade. I'm not knowing about the history of how we even got here in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So I go here and I'm just so disturbed by it. The conditions in which they even brought us over here in the first place. The dehumanization of Black people, and me recognizing that at 5 years old without even having the words for it. And it's like my mom's describing it to me, and she's like, I'm like, so what if you had to go to the bathroom? You did it right there. What if you had to throw up? You had to do it right there. And I'm like, so what if somebody died? They left them right there. What if someone caught a disease? They left it right there, and it killed the whole boat. You get what I'm saying? And then also finding out the stories of the people who jumped ship, people who just jumped because they would have never, they didn't even want to be there, and they would never know the horrors that awaited them once they got off the boat. You know what I'm saying? In a foreign land, in a place that they're not even, you know what I'm saying? In a place they're foreign to, they're not able to talk to their families ever again. It's not 2025. We don't have phones. So it's in the 16, 17, 1500s that these people are brought over here and completely detached forever from their place of origin. And this ladder and this trickle down effect that's still unaddressed to this day, because the United States Empire has never really formally made any type of inkling of a restitution for enslavement. It's a get over it. That happened a long time ago without actually going into the horrors that we don't even know exist, quite possibly. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, there was no phones. The only thing that's documented is oral, auditory, and also just people writing stuff down, the scribal writers, the ancestors who did know how to read and write and talked about the horrors that was the transatlantic slave trade. And so I'm in this exhibit, and I'm going over all this stuff with my mother, and then after that, it's a civil rights section. So we see I see Klan costumes for the first time that in my life, and I'm like, so what's that? And so this is my brother at the time. I don't have a word for it. Is to try to meet white domestic terrorism against black people that is unaccounted for in the legal codes of this system. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm like, so you can't go to the police? No, the Klan is the police. You know what I'm saying? The Klan is the judges. This is what they do at night. They find a black person to round up and do these despicable acts with no type of restitution. What type of conditioning are you putting in your society when that is the precedent, when that is the message that you can send, that you can go kidnap black people? You can go kidnap black people from a whole nother patch of land. You can kidnap them while they sleep, drag them out in front of their children, and hang them from a tree. What type of message is it sending to the wider society? And I think most people don't even think of it like that. So I'm asking him, so does the Klan still exist today? And he was like, is your skin still black? And I'm like, yes. He's like, there go your answer. And I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is still something that's just allowed. And finding out about the Panthers later in my life, this is something that was disavowed. This could not be allowed. Black people being self-sufficient? What the fuck? The government said this is the most dangerous threat to national security is Negro unity. Why is that? White people can unify around racism all day long. They can lynch us from trees even to this day. You can look it up. Danye Jones, St. Louis, Missouri, got lynched in his mom's backyard for activism. So this is, and it's unsolved. You know what I'm saying? These things are still happening to black people. You know what I'm saying? They never stopped. But the liberal meals, the liberal media, the liberal narrative will want you to think it stopped, to think that America has confronted the sins of its past because they want to continuously exploit and use black people to this day.
So I wanted to well, first I saw that Conrad Musa, who highly respected in these streets, said that they like your shit. So I guess I gotta like your shit. I'm just learning about you. So peace to you, and welcome. And I think it's pretty inspiring. I remember a lot of shit when I was little, but the shit I remember, like I'm still mad at my mom because she said let me hold your ice cream instead of telling me she was gonna eat my ice cream. So I can remember that, but I think it's pretty cool for you to be remembering things at 5 years old. But can you speak more about, like, maybe are you still in St. Louis now? And then maybe what type of organizations are you connected to right now?
So right now I'm still, because I go to school here, I go to SLU. So we got my, I just muted my mic, my bad. We got an organization on campus, Occupy SLU. It's detached from the university, so we can do what we want to do. I'm also with Black Men Build. Their St. Louis chapter. I actually just formally joined on in the last meeting, which was Monday. I formally joined. So those are the two main ones that I coordinate with. But in high school, I also did Movement Out Moment. It was an anti-police brutality / gun violence coalition that was founded in honor after Isis Mar, who was an alumni from my high school, Cardinal Ritter, passed away. So we also got those. Yeah, I also was a part of those, but I aged out of them since I graduated high school. So I think it's just what people got to understand is the organizations for socialism are in our communities. You just got to go out and find them. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if y'all know this. Y'all probably familiar with it. The Uhuru African Socialists, they got raided. That happened in St. Louis. The FBI raided their headquarters down here. And you know what I'm saying? So it's like the assault on Black resistance is still ongoing. It's still ongoing. It never stopped. It never will stop, no matter how many liberal politicians we elect, no matter how many Kamala Harrises we have, no matter how many Barack Obamas, because what you got to understand is these people are pawns of capitalism. They're pawns of the state. They pawns of the same racist white people who manufacture consent to shoot us dead in our homes. These are the same people when they're saying pro-cop city, this is what they're supporting. They're supporting this system, this violent institution that does not have the consent to exist at all.
So I'm curious. What up, good brother? When you say that they raided your office, how or how do I ask this question? Is that level of struggle legit in America in terms like is legitimized or illegal?
Yeah, it's legal to do that. Like
what I'm saying legal, I'm talking about it's against the state.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we think the state is going to try to prevent us from organizing, try to prevent us from waking the people up? Like that, they're pretty much doing their job.
Mm-hmm. So what people don't understand is Uhuru had big plans for that section of the north side, and what most people don't understand is with this whole conversation around Zohar Mamdani is just how much control and how much your mayor can shape your city for generations to come. On an international scale. So I'll take my city, for example. I didn't know this unless I didn't go to my Black Men Build meeting on Monday. This is like 2 meetings ago. Somebody came there and was like, yeah, are y'all hearing about Israeli Chemical Limited? I'm like, I'm hoping and praying. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, don't tell me the Israelis that I think he's talking about. But it was the Israelis he's talking about. So the Israelis set up a biochemical factory on the north side of St. Louis. And our mayor, Tashar Jones, at the time, branded as economic development for the north side. So they'll wrap these things in aesthetics and layers to make it seem like they're offering something to Black people, but at the same time, they're poisoning us. You know what I'm saying? This is why you can't trust liberalism. It's sneaky. Like Malcolm X said, the liberal is like the white fox. It'll show his teeth at you, and you'll think it's smiling at you.
How old was you when Mike Brown got killed?
The Ferguson uprising happened when I was 9. That's actually coming up in 3 days. The anniversary of that. I was 9. That's 2014. No, I was 8. I was 8. Because it lasts. What people don't understand, it lasted for a year. Mm-hmm. So when it ended, I was 9. But when I was, you know what I'm saying, it's 8. You know what I'm saying, a year or 2 afterwards.
So was you still in St. Louis at that time?
Born and raised, I never left. So Ferguson is actually 10 minutes from my crib.
Did that have any impact on you or your community?
Yeah, of course. I talk about it. I'm going to actually talk about it on my platform, like officially on the anniversary. So y'all hearing it first. I wrote this on my Substack not too long ago because Mike Brown is buried in St. Peter's, which is where my grandma is buried. So whenever I go visit my grandmother, I was like, next time I'm going to visit Mike. You know what I'm saying? Because this was a very foundational and pivotal point, not just in my life, but for the wider St. Louis community as a whole when it came to Black Lives, like what came out of it, the Black Lives Matter movement, people resisting the police openly and seeing the state's carceral reaction. So I'm going to read what I wrote. I love when asked what radicalized me. It's so many points in my life. Like when I was 3 years old and went to an exhibit about the transatlantic slave trade and started to question the evil that is racism. But it's undoubtedly when I was 8 and the cops killed Mike Brown. This was my first time I questioned the institution that is policing. And at the time I didn't know it, but I was questioning the state for the first time in my life. That's what I consider the start of my radical journey. R.I.P. Big Mike, we never forgot you. Your death won't be in vain. It started a revolutionary spirit in me that would never die. So what I mean by that is at this time, I'm not understanding. This is my first time actually seeing riotings because Trayvon Martin was 2 years before, but I really wasn't watching the news. I was 6 years old when Trayvon Martin happened. So this is the first time I'm actually seeing, the riots in my city, in my community. You know what I'm saying? They blew up the Quick Trip. And it's seeing how angry people were and me noticing this is something that has been an unreconciled thing in the community for a minute. And this is a manifestation of that because they started gaslighting us afterwards. Y'all blowing up y'all community. Y'all destroying this. Why are we talking about that when an 18-year-old Black kid is dead? Because the police stalking him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what happened. Darren Wilson stalked him. And so what ends up happening is a lot of people in my life now, present day, were organizing at that time, like Jonathan Fofis. He became my mentor in like 2021. But his foundations for his student organizing, ascent was during the Mike Brown in which he had an encampment on SLU's campus, you know what I'm saying, in Von Derry Myers. So it was after this that a lot of people just got, you know what I'm saying, their names during the Ferguson uprising. And so, like I said, it's seeing the complete rejection of this legitimate case that was Mike Brown. Seeing how he was shot with his hands up, seeing how he was left in the street. Most people don't know this. He was left in the street for 8 to 9 hours. And I remember that day vividly. It was hot as fuck. You know what I'm saying? It was so hot that his skin ended up peeling into the pavement a little bit. And it's hearing about it the first, like exactly as soon as it happened, because I think my brother came down to the basement. It was like, you heard the police just killed Mike Brown. And we like, what you mean? So we hearing about all this stuff. We're like, oh Lord. And like it's so despicable. And hearing what Darren Wilson is able to do now. Last I heard, he was stationed out in Baldwin, which is like 50 minutes out there out west. You know what I'm saying? It's a white community. They probably treat him like a hero. You know what I'm saying? So it's seeing the dynamic of Black pain being something that's not seen and is not addressed. It's rather the claim and the clinging to What about our buildings? What about our commerce? What about our business? What about our capitalism? That's basically what I hear when you say y'all burning buildings down. This our neighborhood. We can fuck it up if we want to. You know what I'm saying? We got the right to. Y'all don't give us anything anyway. like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't give us nothing anyway. So it's seeing how, so like the stress for people is like, let's be peaceful, y'all. You know what I'm saying? They sent Al Sharpton. They sent their favorite pacifiers down, like Al Sharpton and Ben Crump, to try to calm the people down, and that didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Because at that time, you trusted the system. The system didn't even want to indict. They didn't even formally press charges. He never went to trial for that. They didn't even indict him. And that was his whole other fiasco that made it longer than it, you know what I'm saying, than it was. And seeing this is how Wesley Bell, liberal, you know what I'm saying? Wesley Bell's a very important name in St. Louis politics. Seeing how Wesley Bell was able to capitalize off Mike Brown's parents' pain, and launch his own political career off of this, and lie to the people and say that he was going to at least bring a manslaughter charge against Darren Wilson, who's the officer who murdered Mike Brown. But once he gets in office, it's nothing I can do. And he's able to further ascend his political career by taking 8 to 12 million from AIPAC in a representative race. And he's viewed as the change of St. Louis. He's a sellout.
Yeah, I guess I just want to kind of, I kind of got more attached, I guess, to like your online persona when somebody attacked me for like having the nerve to defend CJ, because he's that crazy 19-year-old, that just be saying all this stuff and always putting people down on TikTok. But I guess for me, I'm an artist and I'm not an influencer, and I know kind of my intention as an artist is to put, my politics out through my art to hopefully inspire people to want to get more involved and radicalize them. And I guess I assume that that's some of your intention with the content that you make on TikTok. And I guess I'm just curious, like, to how you feel building this platform and taking the time to respond to, different things that liberals say online, or people that think that they're radical but really have, some liberal ideology still. Like, how do you think taking the time to make content about that and build up a platform on that helps push the movement forward?
So it exposes it to a new generation, because like what most people don't realize, most people think I started making videos at the election. No, I've been doing this since I was 14. This is the same TikTok account I had since I was 14. So you can go and look and scroll through all of it. But I've been preaching the same politic for the whole time that I've been on the app. I never had that phase and where I was on here in the liberal and stuff like that. I always said I'm a communist. You know what I'm saying? I've always said that since I first started making videos. And I think it exposes it to a new generation. Because like I said before, I am 19. I am like one of like the main 19-year-olds on the app. I don't know any other like teenage radicals. You know what I'm saying? You probably got like J2 Radical, but that's it. You know what I'm saying? He be in and out the app because, you know what I'm saying? I don't know why. But you know what I'm saying? So I see a lot of people compare me to people like J. William J, and it's like two completely different platforms. Just because we both young, black, and got dreads don't mean it's the same message. You know what I'm saying? So it exposes it to a new generation. It exposes it to somebody who can carry the torch. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what I think is happening is so many people look at that and they get scared because they feel threatened by somebody who's young and intelligent and principled. You know what I'm saying? It's inherently threatening. I don't know the reason why, but you know what I'm saying? I can ponder all day about it. But like I said, I think it exposes it to a new generation, and new generation is able to think, oh shit, black radical politics is cool. Like,
yeah. Listen, we're watching. You're watching. I'm watching it too. Caesar, you got me locked in. I'm saying we're watching, but I'm a part of the interview, so you are watching. Dare to Struggle, Dare to Win, episode 26. We're talking to brother CJ here. I actually want to do something really quick because as you're talking, I'm thinking, and then I'm feeling this moment, seeing my brother Yusef here, and I was just seeing what it feels like to be your age at 8, as you said, 8 and 7, and I know how I'm 41, and I know how I experienced Mike Brown and Walter Scott at home and Anthony Hill, who I grew up with. And then, but I also know the politics and the things that I've had before. And so I'm seeing you or hearing you as 8 years old, 7 years old, and then as you said, 6 years later, you created a TikTok, and then now there's traction has been going, and so your politics has always been like, I guess, clear or as left as as there can be. So I'm thinking that, and my question to you, and I want Yusef to kind of respond to your answers after this, but my question to you is, in your very young age and you kind of having this politics, do you feel like the right type of organizations are around you that you can organize and struggle with? Was it hard to find the right organization? Yeah, just I want to kind of be vague, so you to kind of tell me about that experience of coming with this life experience, being kind of radical, but still also, I'm not saying kind of slight, but kind of radical as a young kid, but also trying to look for a home to do some work in.
So I'll say I grew up during the transition stage of the St. Louis radical scene. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up post Ferguson, if that makes sense. So what people don't understand about Ferguson is everybody from that on the St. Louis organizing scene either went into politics, got snuffed out by the powers that be, by the government, they got killed, or they got jailed. So or they got deplatformed to a space in which they couldn't really organize no more. You know what I'm saying? So I'm coming up in a new generation of the aftermath of all of this. So after this is like, I go to high school. So what many people don't realize is my high school is like it's not weird. It's weird in a way that it's one of a kind. You know what I'm saying? 40% black male teachers, Afrocentric art is all around the school. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's like community activism is something that I already come from a tradition of, you know what I'm saying? Because of who my brother is and what type of organizer he was during Ferguson. So it's one of those things where we kind of created our own thing that was really new. You know what I'm saying? The movement at that moment, that's what I'm saying. They created that in 2021. And we held the rally December 1st, 2021. And I actually spoke at that rally. So that was my thrust into the public eye of St. Louis activism. That was the first time doing it. It was some makeshift stuff that I actually didn't even plan to do. My soccer coach trolled me into doing it. He was like, CJ got a lot, because my president had asked, CJ, you don't got nothing to say? And then my soccer coach was like, oh yeah, he got a lot to say. I'm like, man, I'm socially anxious about doing this. I'm like, I don't even got no notes written up. I didn't need no notes. Little did I know. You know what I'm saying? So, and I was able to do this, and we were able to organize a community. We had like 8 area high schools out there, 8+. You know what I'm saying? We had 1,500 kids. You know what I'm saying? After that, summertime, we hosted a block party, all that. So it's like I already know how to organize people. And for the causes of anti-gun violence, anti-police brutality. So it's like it's one of those things that this is something that the community wants. So by the time I get to college, I get dropped off on the college campus. I just start talking to people, and then I find out people with my politics, and then I found out, oh shit, student organizations. So I just joined the student organization. I started coming to meetings. Same thing I did with Black Men Build. One of my friends, Chris, slid in my DMs on TikTok and was like, hey, I think you would be good for a Black Men Build circle. I'm like, all right, I come. I'm not doing shit. So I'm like, I'll bring my roommate too. You know what I'm saying? I'll bring a +1. And that's another thing. I got my friends involved with the shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm on them about coming. I got my oldest brother friends. They 30. You know what I'm saying? I'm on them about coming. And it's like, this is how we start doing shit. You talk to people. This is one of the best things that my conversation with Daruba had on me. Is when he was talking about face-to-face organization. And he was like, you right on. Like, you farther ahead than I was at 19. And hearing it from somebody like that, I'm like, damn. Like, okay. Niggas can't tell me shit no more. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's really what it is. Like, okay. All right. I knew I wasn't tripping.
So I'm curious to what type of material that you have read to contribute to your political development.
So like, actually, I just had this in my video. It's the last year of Malcolm X and Making a Revolutionary. I didn't read it so many times, the front cover off, as you can see. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of my foundational books. I also, like, I'm about to read Blood in My Eye, but I'm also reading Afro-Pessimism right now by Frank B. Wilderson III. It's like, but my first ever book was actually the Manifesto, the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx. And then after the Manifesto, that's when I read Women, Race, and Class by Angela Davis. And then that's when I first read the Sada autobiography. And then I just reread that not too long ago again for like the third time. So them are just some texts, you know what I'm
Have you
saying?
read Wretched of the Earth yet?
Yeah, Rest of the Oh my God, I love that book. My favorite book.
Let me
That's really the book. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know how I forgot that book. I read that actually not even for the first time 6 months ago. And I'm reading the book. I'm going through the book and I'm like, I'm putting it in language that I will understand in my head while I'm reading. I'm like, this motherfucker's talking about like modern day black liberalism. You know what I'm saying? When he's talking about the colonizer using people from the population to quell revolution, I'm like, this is exactly the Obamas. These are the Kamalas. These are the Cory Bookers. You know what I'm saying? These the politicians that I had to chase through Congress. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's just one of those things. That's one of my favorite books of all time. Also, Decolonial Marxism by Walter Rodney.
So you talked about growing up in the post Ferguson era.
Mm-hmm.
So I arrived in Ferguson a week after the curfew was lifted, and was continuing to come maybe about 3, 4, 5 years. So I'm curious to what would be your assessment. So Tef Poe? I heard Tef Poe.
Tef Poe, nah. I've probably been in passing, but nah, not Tef Poe.
So Tef Poe was one of it was I just named him. But it was a bunch of young people. He's still active. He's a rapper, but he utilized his platform. He was baptized through the Ferguson and a lot of other folks. So I'm curious to because you talk about liberalism. For me, it's white hegemony at the end of the day. I think that's the core dynamic that contributes to demobilizing us from mobilizing our communities, but also Fanon talks about how the colonizers see themselves and to be like the colonizers. Those who are colonized want to be like the colonizers. And so from that standpoint, how that Ferguson was hijacked.
Yeah, of course, it's co-opted.
It's hijacked, co-opted. But it reminded me of the Panthers, the SNCC, in terms of you saw the youth movement, you saw the emergence. I remember being there, and the story that was told to me, it was the elders, it was the mothers, it was the pastors, all these folks out there. They was at the police and they was resisting peacefully. And when they shot the tear gas, the men, the pastor, they left and they ran. And they left the babies and the mothers and the young folks had to step up. From that moment on, they began to be baptized. But it was folks who had not read Fanon at that moment, who had weave in their hair, baggy, sagging and whatnot. But you saw the potential of a Fred Hampton, of a Martin Luther King, or Malcolm X, or Shakur, etc. But it was. So I'm curious, like, have you being there and really like diving into what happened of being co-opted and things?
So like I immediately saw it getting co-opted in real time when people started, like I said, launching political careers afterwards. You know what I'm saying? This is what the Democrats do. When uprisings happen, they'll send, even if the person got good intentions, they will prop up somebody to act like they're listening to the people and acting like they had the people's best interest, and they make concessions called reforms. So after Ferguson, you saw a whole lot of police reforms. So this is what we got policing, how we have modern day policing in St. Louis now. So I don't know if anybody heard about the entertainment district that's being made in downtown. If anybody know the history of downtown St. Louis, a lot of black people live down there, like in the projects. You know what I'm saying? Because they've been ever increasingly gentrifying the projects, like O'Fallon Place. They've been doing that since like 2020. The 2010s actually. And then so they've been gentrifying a historically black neighborhood called Javandaloo with the new NGA. So all of this stuff is connected into making an entertainment district, even with the new soccer stadium. You know what I'm saying? Now we have a St. Louis soccer team. And what we see with this entertainment district is that the state, aka the city, the state, the powers that be, they are able to deputize security guards to be an acting police force downtown now. So we have that. We have another one, which is a private contracting policing force. And then we have the regular just city police, St. Louis Metropolitan Police Forces. You know what I'm saying? This ain't even talking about the county police, which gets called a lot of times down to the city. So it's like we have a problem of over policing here, because I don't know if y'all know about the tornado that just happened and just occurred in St. Louis. Wrecked the whole north and west side. If anybody knows about St. Louis knows the layouts is hella segregated, super segregated. Delmar Divide, 99% of the north side is black, and the median income is $22,000 a year. So disenfranchisement is commonplace here. Systemic racism is segregation runs so deep. I just found this out. It affects squirrel DNA. Squirrels from the north side are unhealthier than the squirrels from the south side because of food deserts, because of delayed trash pickup, things like that. You know what I'm saying? And all of the white flight and abandonment that became of the north side after the 80s, 90s. You know what I'm saying? So, and the urban decay, really. And so this is what we see after Ferguson. So now we're over policing, and now during the tornado, now FEMA's here. And so I was just rolling around the Ville not too long ago, probably 2 nights ago, and I'm seeing the FEMA drop-off center, and I'm seeing they have I don't know if y'all got these in other cities. It's a mobile tower. It's a surveillance tower. It's a surveillance tower that's in the middle of the city, not in the middle of the city, in the middle of the FEMA distribution. Because what they gonna say is we don't want anybody stealing it. Why can't they steal it? Why can't they steal it? You know what I'm saying? It's for them anyway. Why they got to come through the proper channels to get it? They're the ones with no house no more. These are people who are displaced, unhoused. They should be able to come get what they want anytime that they want. So it's like y'all using this excuse for just more surveillance. Just more surveillance. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you realize that it'll change your mind about what everything is and what everything really is about. And what these reforms are about. That's the biggest thing after Ferguson. They came with the reforms.
Listen, CJ, I know we about to wrap soon, but I want to I was actually really trying to have people who may be watching look and kind of consider again the time period, the age, and the type of organizations that are around whenever we experience I guess life, what life in the black lens. But there's been some conversation online about like the online left and people who actually touch grass and be who actual organizers and doing work. So I want to, before you leave, give you a minute to kind of share how you see this argument, right? Between, I don't even like the term at this point, but between people who are politically effective and decent on the internet, but also they have ground game as well. So I just love to hear your thoughts on that argument.
It's one of those things. I keep it all separate. So like a lot of these people that you'll see that do activism or who have an internet presence, what they do is when they go to protests, when they go to rallies, when they go to meetings and stuff, they got the camera out. They want to post it. They want to prove to people this is who they are. I don't got to prove to nobody because at the end of the day, I don't know y'all. So it's one of those things. It's fine. It's the fine line between my political education platform on places like TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and finding my mode as an activist in real life. And it's not that hard. Trust me. So it's like, it's one of those things of where I can show what's publicly accessible on the internet. If anybody want to pull my card or say things like you only a talking head, and if I only was a talking head on TikTok, I still don't care. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I do have the credentials to back up what I'm saying on here because I've seen them in real time. You know what I'm saying?
Cherie, you got anything before we go? Or any other questions? Appreciate your time today.
Yeah, I guess for me, because the one thing that I guess I wanted you to clarify on here was, and I feel like you clarified it in a video, and that's why I, was defending you against. But there's this thing that CJ comes for Black women, and I just was like, what? Because to me, I was like, you come for anybody that has liberal leanings, and I think specifically when a lot of Black liberal women were taking up for Kamala Harris or doing the whole I'm gonna sit this out, you were like speaking against that, and then it got turned into like CJ becoming for Black women or whatever. And I just thought that, like, yeah, that whole thing was crazy. I feel like people, a big thing that they say about online leftists is y'all come so hard for liberals, but y'all don't come for like the right wing people, you know? And I'm like, well, that's because obviously everybody understands, you know, the right wing is bad, but you know, the neoliberalism is what messes us up. So yeah,
like people, so like what people don't understand is the right wing are full of liberals too. The line between a Democrat and a Republican is not existent. Trump used to be a Democrat back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Elon Musk financed, he supported Barack, you know what I'm saying? And he financed the Biden-Harris campaign. So what you got to understand, about this thing is liberals are more likely to weaponize identity than a Republican is, because Republicans play the role. Everybody has a role to play in white supremacy. The Republican is going to play the overtly, outwardly racist, transphobic, homophobic, you know what I'm saying, adversary on liberal political theory. I'm finna break it down. And what the Democrat wants to do is present itself as the one who's actually fighting, but is actually at the end of the day is taking a little bit of money out of the whole pot. You get what I'm saying? At the end of the day, is the Democrats who are still benefiting off this capitalism, this imperialism, these genocides that we're seeing in Congo, Sudan, Palestine, you know what I'm saying, and the hyper acceleration of the genocide in Gaza, to be specific. You know what I'm saying? And it's really what I say really set black people back so far to where we are still like trying to get out of this liberalism was the advent of Barack Obama in 2008. This was a thrust of black people becoming hopeful in the Democrats, that the Democrats finally see us. White supremacy will never see you. They'll use you, but they'll never see you. They'll never see your struggle. They'll never see your pain. They'll never see anything. They only at the end of the day just see you as a black body, as a black vessel that they can use for whatever agenda. Let this agenda be capitalism, imperialism, union busting, suppressing the left. They'll use you for that agenda. Same thing goes with Zohran Mamdani. You know what I'm saying? He talking about he not touching the head count in the NYPD. Why is that? Why is that? You got to think, what is the police function in this system? So if someone comes in, I don't care who they is, and says, I don't want to touch the police, what is that telling you? At the end of the day, they still serve capitalism. I also said this, the systems that we see, capitalism, racism, patriarchy, all of these things have many faces that people cannot recognize. And that's one of the main things about it. Most people don't see neoliberalism as a poison, as a cancer to the world. They see it as something that's friendly. They see it as something that's acceptable. They see this as being the morally superior one. They see this as being the one that's morally substantial to the counterpart of the Republican. But at the end of the day, materially, they're the same thing. You know what I'm saying? They're the same enemy. And I hear so many people say, well, it's easy to organize under Democrats. No, it's not. You still get beat under Democrats. Democrats are the ones who killed Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton got killed by a blue mayor, blue president, blue governor. Everything was blue. He got killed in Chicago. He got murdered in his sleep in Chicago under a Democratic administration. Same thing with MLK. He got murdered by LBJ's FBI. So it's like when you see liberals still have this avid need to suppress black freedom and black liberation, you then question, are liberals and Republicans really the same? And when you actually look at it from an academic lens, they are. Trump is a neoliberal. They'll call Trump a fascist because that's what they are. But they will never carry up the title of fascist. The United States will never carry the torch of fascism because they have to make it look like it's an external threat. It's an external enemy. So we're going to call ourselves liberals. And what we be getting people tripped up to is the prefix of lib. You know what I'm saying? Liberty. You connotate this with freedom. And it's not really freedom. You know what I'm saying? So the United States is going to tell you, we went in World War II because we saw the Nazis and we hate the Nazis and we hate Nazism. The United States didn't denazify. They invited them in with open arms, Operation Paperclip. You also see the United States is the Nazis' blueprint being the United States, what they did to indigenous and black people, what they did to indigenous people. He said that he wanted total extermination. This is where he even gets the ideas from of how to do it. Start setting up prison industrial complexes known as concentration camps. You know what I'm saying? He starts doing the same things that he's seeing that black people had to go through after enslavement, mass incarceration. You know what I'm saying? Labor camps. These are all things that they have in the South to this day. And Golden State Prison is one of them. You know what I'm saying? People aren't going to call these things what they are. These prison camps, these labor camps, they're concentration camps, they're labor camps. They're enslaving these people. All these corporations, Wendy's, McDonald's, Starbucks, all these corporations that y'all went to out of spite towards Palestinians, don't realize you're making an ass out of yourself because you're selling out your own people when you do this out of spite for another group of people that you think's plight is not connected to you.
Now listen, that's called my boy. You know nothing about that.
That's hard.
Well, thank you so much, CJ. I'm so happy to, have you on. I hope you can be, more present in the Black liberation media sphere. Okay. We're not as hip as TikTok, but I think we some dope online leftists or whatever.
Yeah, I'd love to come back.
So yeah. So I'm glad you could come over here and kick it with us. Thank you. Do you have any upcoming things you want people to look out for? Anything as we wrap up?
I should be going to the Palestinian Freedom Conference in Detroit on the 29th to the 31st. I should be going there because I just came from DC. I did a lot of disruptions in DC when it came to like Cory Booker and Ted Cruz. So I just came back from DC. You know what I'm saying? That, and after that, I got to see what I get back to school for real, like what we're gonna do. Actually, my brother Jonathan Fofus is dropping a book. And I'm a part of like the committee for the launch of the book. And he's having an event for that on September the 20th. So yeah, this is what I'm doing in real life.
So when you're in Detroit, man, look me up, good brother.
Bet.
Dope. Thank you again, CJ. It's been real. I'll see you in TikTok world.
Yeah, it's IamCJ__2 on all platforms, including this one, YouTube. I'm actually finna type in the chat.
Yeah, appreciate you. My guy, yeah. We might have to make a family affair. Come up there to Detroit and show you around Yusef Hood.
For sure.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. You welcome back anytime. Stay connected and keep doing the work, bro.
All right. Thank you.
Peace. Yeah. So episode 26. Good brother CJ. Thank you for bringing the young brother on, Cherie. Interesting stream of conversations from start to finish, and I'm curious how y'all experienced that conversation. What came up? A lot came up for me. I was kind of sitting in the back, and I kind of share mine last, but like it seemed like a really good moment to have CJ on, Yusef on, all of us. But then what we're talking about at the conference, like what type of organizations are out there for these people to funnel into. So, but I'll get into more of that in a second. But what kind of thoughts I have?
I defer to y'all first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that I was able to bring him on. I think I wanted to kind of dig more into his background because I think, when he's cooking these people online, it's really very much about like conversations that they have started or thoughts that they put out there that are, not just, and him kind of correcting those things. So I hear little snippets of more of his personal journey, but I think today I was able to hear more of like his background, what radicalized him, where he's at now, and what's happening behind the scenes, which, like I said, I think a thing that I can't appreciate about him for the most part, like I said, is he doesn't glow and be like, oh, I'm at the protest, I'm doing this, oh, I know this person, I took a picture with this, so, it's interesting to see, okay, more of who he's in conversation with, to hear about, his brother being an organizer as well, and all of that. It definitely gives me more context, because I think because of that, liberals that will be older than him will be like, well, he's just this kid, in his college dorm, and he's 19, he hasn't experienced real life. But I think, you can be young and still have a lot of things from basically what he said that affected his actual politic. And I think growing up through that Ferguson uprising, everything was really instrumental in where he landed. And definitely made me feel old. I'm like, dang, I was like already growing that happened. But yeah, it was funny hearing everybody comments be like, the way he said 30 was like, child. But it was just cool to really get a breakdown of that, because I think that's a side that isn't, easily displayed on TikTok. So for sure.
For me, I'm always intrigued by. Obviously, social conditions plays a crucial role in shaping people, but I think running neck and neck with that is the reading material, and as we talked before we brought our guests on, how you're applying what you're reading. It's, I mean, obvious it's impactful to hear a 19-year-old, talking that way. And again, a lot of us, when you think about 19, was not thinking at that level. And then when you think about Black men in particular, a lot of us tend to come to our awareness or consciousness through our social conditions, but also and as a result of confinement. So to hear this young man at his age to not have to experience that directly, but it left a lot to be desired from my end, and lot more to go deeper into, especially on the Ferguson thing. I mean, I was there. Not when I say I was there, I had the opportunity to see a lot, experience a lot, saw some of the dynamics, and then just got more deeper because like what is our politics and what do they mean, and like it's easy to just say liberal or a Republican, but what does that translate into our oppression and how we're fighting our oppression? So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think a lot came up. As I said, seeing CJ reminds me of the time that I was spent in Baltimore, developing like young organizers, and these are middle school and high school students, and groups like the Baltimore Algebra Project, Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle. As I even segue to Leah's question about how do this young person engage Marx at so early. But I just remember of how deeply clear, or I don't want to say deeply, I probably exaggerate, but really clear the young people have been, and they are, right? And so even CJ said like, oh, it's a lot of people who think like me and who's like me, or he's meeting multiple people, and I just immediately think about, okay, what type of organizations do we have that's going to be able to house these people and develop these people? Then also, when we talk about online left, like if we don't have those organizations, and I'm not making a statement of this, but if we don't have those organizations and these people are online, or young people do experience, they go from Mike Brown being 8 years old to 14 years old, expressing themselves on TikTok. Like that's a different environment or culture that they're in. And I'm just wondering, like, do we immediately be like, oh, these people on online left, they're not serious, they're whatever? Or do we like create or have organizations to like guide and develop all of that potential? So when I hear Yusef say like, oh, like brother got the potential, like it's inspiring, because the person is, even again, we might have differences of how we deliver and what we deliver, whatever. But instead of like spend the whole time trying to like jig the young brother, be like, why you ain't on this and what you on this, or you ain't real, like really just kind of giving him opportunity to say what he got to say, help us get clarity around where he's at, and then again extend their hand to keep helping develop. And I'm having that experience here too. Back in Lexington, we had this is a space called a Levy Collective, a Japanese sister named Tosha who developed this cooperative. And last night in particular, there was like a bunch of young people in from Lexington and Berea College. If anybody ever heard of Berea, which some good organizers come out of there, but they were all kind of young, sitting, and like they're aware. They're like there's some solid ass young people. So I just thought that was a good moment to see, and it wasn't in the space of like trying to critique or organize posture. But go ahead, you.
I mean, I was gonna say I could relate to some degree when he said, because he's talking about Daruba, right? Daruba. So, well, not to the point he couldn't tell me nothing, but I could relate to being validated by Daruba. some years ago, I used to be a part of a group called Black Soldiers out in New York. And this one, Deruba and the new Black Panther Party was like, and they really going at it. And it was his brother out of New York named Shakur. And Deruba ended up getting in it, and they was going back and forth, Malik Shabazz. And I said something, you know, and I was just being objective, and Deruba had like what Bunchy said, you know. And there was a brother, here in Detroit, like, yeah, Deruba called your name, man. Yeah. So I was just, you know, I can relate that to the young brother, man.
Nah, man, that was dope. That was dope. Any other thing y'all got going on, or even anything coming up before we wrap?
I mean, for me, we just did our 20th anniversary backpack event here in Detroit, neighborhood festival, and at the Mama Core Community House. It was a powerful day and things. Very, very refreshing to be able to organize for 20 years consecutively, something on that magnitude where backpack events and all those things are common and things, but on a grassroots level, they don't exist. And we're in neighborhoods that are socially neglected and things. So, yeah.
Let me see. I don't really have anything big coming up. I mean, we do have an announcement coming soon about the next level of the show. But we still trying to get a few things tied up in the background. But yeah, I mean, the Atlanta show is coming, y'all, in October. So yeah, be prepared for an announcement of all the details of that. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything. I'm wearing my Fuck Ice shirt today, just in case, because I know you can only see fuck. I just want y'all to see I says fuck ice, you know. So yeah.
Jesus, help these youths. No, I'm joking.
You wearing some real radical shirts. I thought I'd be wearing some radical shirts.
Listen, man. When I was in college, I had warning, educated black man. That was as radical as I could get, man. That was a whack ass shirt.
I remember those shirts too.
Yeah, I don't know who the fuck made up those shirts, man. Warning, you get your ass out of there. That was the dumbass shirt. So yeah. Right after this, I actually have an interview with some. I think they like the Green Party. The Green Party and is it Chicago? Anyway, yeah. So y'all can come right over. I'll put the link in the chat. With Green live stream.
Nice picture.
Thanks.
You like two different people, brother.
That's back in my young days, bro. You know, when I used to be in these streets. No, I'm joking. But yeah, like today I kind of overbooked. I forgot about this show, and I didn't forget about the show, but I kind of forgot it was on Wednesday, and I forgot about the interview.
You need a secretary. You need a secretary, man.
No, this is the first time I ever like boom, 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 boom. I was like, spoke at 1:30. No, spoke at 1:15, 1 to 3. Then this joint had to go run and go get some food, and this started, and then the next one. And I ain't know it until the lady emailed me, was like, "Oh, are you still prepared to come on the show?" I was like, "Oh shit." My bad. But anyway, y'all come on over there and hang out with me because I ain't know who all gonna be over there. Hey, y'all, Yusef, you know that saying? When you say, "Hey, Yusef," you know the saying when you be like, "Hey, I'm about to go to the store. You want to come?" Who all gonna be there?
Oh yeah.
I know y'all gonna be there.
We got to know.
We said who all gonna be there. Who all gonna be there? Stone over, you know what we said. Who all gonna be there? But listen, y'all come over there with me, and then we're gonna see y'all later. We're gonna see y'all next week. Same time, same place. We got some stuff going on next week, right? Got some guests.
Yeah, we'll find them.
No, I got a brother up here who from Dayton Cooperative. He's actually a professor around culture. He teach about culture. So I might see him, and if him and Layla can come through, maybe we can have a conversation, a deep conversation around that. But yeah, we got some stuff cooking. So we see y'all next time. Appreciate y'all. If you're rewatching, comment in the comment section. We're gonna get back at you. Peace.
Yeah.
Peace.
es eterno el sufrimiento. Va el pueblo su voz alzando, que no nos siga matando. Del rico su daga hiriente, su voracidad creciente, no nos siga aniquilando. Compañero, compañero,